Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Jingle, and today I am doing a ranking of all of the Leprechaun movies. I've been watching one of these a day for the last week, and I'm super excited to do this. But before we get into that, please remember to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. If you're interested in more horror content, stay tuned because I have a lot more coming. First off, check out my awesome St. Patty's Day shirt. I'm a pug guy through and through. I have a pug. His name's Butters. I will always be a pug guy. This is my favorite St. Patty's Day shirt that I have. I'm going to get a Reuben tonight for dinner probably, so I'm celebrating here. But let's get into ranking these movies. So I watched all these on the Lionsgate Blu-ray collection. Now, there's a few different releases of this. There is a steelbook version with like the leprechaun coming out of his lair, like the shining light. And there's also a like Halloween steelbook version that came out a few years ago. And then there's also a slipcover for this version, but I don't have the slipcover. I bought this late. But I've been wanting to go through all these for quite some time. I remember watching some of them as a kid. I'm not really sure which ones that I watched as a kid, but I've been wanting to go over these for a St. Patty's Day video for some time now. So yeah, let's start off by talking about number 7. So number 7 to me is quite possibly one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen in my entire life. And if you guys have seen it, you know it's Leprechaun Origins. That is my number 7. It is directed by Zach Lipovsky, which I looked at his film credits and I didn't recognize anything that I had seen from him before, but I noticed that he is the director of the upcoming new Final Destination movie. So that's super interesting. I'm really curious to see if he can redeem himself with that because this is a steaming pile of shit. It was released in August of 2014, and it was produced by WWE, and it actually is the first Leprechaun movie and only Leprechaun movie to not star Warwick Davis, and instead it stars Hornswoggle, the wrestler from WWE, if you guys remember him. I like the landscape and setting of this movie a lot. It's like an outback in Ireland, which is really awesome. But another cool thing I like is it has the mental hospital patient from Freddy vs. Jason in this, and I really like that guy a lot. I can't think of his name right now, but this almost reminds me of them trying to do like a Platinum Dunes era movie, but it just did not work at all. It was so bad, and there's no creative kills at all. The leprechaun's look is horrible. It looks like they straight ripped it from The Descent. Like it looks exactly like the cave dwellers in The Descent, which is just crazy to me that they copy and pasted this. There's one cool kill towards the end where he rips this guy's spine out like a predator, but that's like the only thing that sticks out to me in this movie. They even go as far to copy the ending quote of the original Leprechaun, "Fuck you, Lucky Charms," to kill him, and like, I can't believe they did that. This is just the most unoriginal horror movie I've ever seen, and it was just so tough to get through. And like, I will probably never watch it ever again. I can honestly say that. I'm interested to see if this director can turn it around with the new Final Destination. So that is my number 7 pick. Number 6 is going to be Leprechaun Back to the Hood. Now, this one was enjoyable in some aspects. It was directed by Stephen A. Ramlui. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And it was released in December of 2003. The opening scene of the movie is absolutely ridiculous. It's like this priest trying to hit a rainbow with a shovel, and the shovel just keeps going straight through the rainbow. This is the last movie that ever had Warwick Davis reprising his role as a leprechaun. One of the actors, there's actually 2 actors in this movie that I really like a lot. The first one's name is Paige Kennedy, and he's from the Meg movies, but I love him in Blue Mountain State. It's this awesome comedy series about a college and football players, and if you guys haven't seen that, you should check that out because that series is amazing. He plays Thad, who is like my favorite character in that show's right-hand man, but it also stars Laz Alonso, who you would recognize that plays Mother's Milk in the Boys live action series, or MM. And it's so crazy seeing how young he is in this. It really held my attention, I think, mainly because of that fact. There's a lot of really cringe moments in this. That's like not something that they would do nowadays. But basically, this one is about a group of friends who find the leprechaun's pot of gold, and that causes them to come back, and he starts looking for it. There's some better kills in this one. One that sticks out to me is this guy gets stabbed with a bong, and it's really funny. And then they walk in and see him there, and there's all this blood like in the bong. That's a really cool effect. But I do like all the characters in this one, but the movie just isn't great. I don't really have a lot to say about this one. I mean, there was some good aspects of it I like, but like I said, the main thing that held my attention was that Laz Alonso was in it, and he was really good in it, actually. I really enjoyed watching him in this. So that is my number 6 pick. Number 5 is Leprechaun in the Hood, the first In the Hood movie. So this was directed by Rob Spera, who is best known for the Bloody Murder 2 movie. It's like a Jason Voorhees ripoff. I've never seen it, but I've always wanted to. I heard it's a lot of fun, and it's super cheesy and comedic. This was actually released in March of 2000, and it stars Ice-T. There's a couple more actors in this that we'll get into in a little bit. So this one starts out, the leprechaun is a statue again with his necklace on him. The necklace comes off, that causes him to get resurrected. And just as he's about to kill Ice-T, the necklace falls back on him, and Ice-T is like this like mob boss or gangster gang boss, and he keeps the leprechaun as like a statue in his office pretty much. And these 3 thugs, they decide to break into his office and steal some stuff, and they steal the necklace that's on the leprechaun, causing him to come back to life. There's some really cool kills in this one. There's a really funny one where this guy is stabbed with one of those like afro combs. That's really funny. This one's got a lot of cheesy humor in it, and like they really lean into that, so that's why I think that works so much. There is some cool practical effects when this guy gets like a hole blown through him, but the great effects don't start happening until close to the very end, which kind of is a bummer. I do not like how the leprechaun looks in these first 3 movies that I talked about. It's almost like his face is like too textured or something. But yeah, he doesn't look right, and I'm not a fan of it. The ending of this one is a lot of fun. The characters are likable, and overall, this one's all right. But next, we're going to talk about my number 4 pick. So my number 4 pick is Leprechaun 2. This was released in April of 1994, and it was directed by Rodman Flender, who is best known for Idle Hands, which I absolutely love that movie. That's one of my comfort movies. I talked about that with my buddy Robbie in one of his early videos, but I absolutely love Idle Hands. I met Devin Sawa at a con last year, and Idle Hands is just a comfort movie for me. You guys, if you haven't seen Idle Hands, check it out. This one starts in like 1,000-year flashback, and you get like a little bit of the leprechaun's like origins and stuff, which is kind of cool. And then you flash forward to the modern day New York, I believe it's in. You get a cool cameo from Clint Howard and Kimmy Robertson. There's also a really cool nod to the Ice Cream Man movie where he's like, Clint Howard's character's like, I'll wait by the ice cream parlor. So I thought that was pretty cool. The main kid in it, he's like giving these Hollywood tours and like ripping these people off, and it's really funny. He's rolling around in a hearse. There's some really, really funny humor where he's like, he pulls up to this house that supposedly Bela Lugosi lived at, and this like black chick like in the hood comes out, and they're like, I thought this was Bela Lugosi's house, and he's like, that's his niece Stella Lugosi, and that was like just so stupid. But there's a lot of good one-liners in this one, like the famous quote where he like comes alive and takes a drink of the whiskey, and he's like, blended whiskey, or blended Canadian, the only whiskey's Irish whiskey. I also really like the kid's room in this one. He's a massive horror fan, so he's got a Fright Night poster in his room, which is awesome. There's some really amazing scenes in this. There's a really good scene where the leprechaun tricks this guy in the garage to like walking into like this like saw machine, and it is brutal. I absolutely love that. You also get a look at the leprechaun's lair in this one, which is really unique looking, and I really enjoyed seeing that. Tony Cox also has a cameo in this, which he's going to be at a con I'm going to. For those of you that don't know, he's the black elf in Bad Santa, but he also plays a black leprechaun in this, which is really funny. This also has Michael McDonald from the Mad TV series, which if you guys saw him, you would recognize him. He's a very recognizable comedian. There's also one of my favorite effects in like all these movies. There's a scene where this guy has like a pot of gold like in his skin, and it's so brutal. I absolutely love it. This one is also has the famous scene where the leprechaun is like driving around in his car with like the spikes on it and stuff. And at the very end, when the leprechaun finally meets his demise, it's a really cool effect. I really enjoyed that. So that is my number 4 pick. That one is really a really good watch. I think I rated it like 3.5 stars on Letterboxd, but I really enjoyed that one. So let's get into my number 3 pick. I'm picking Leprechaun 4, Leprechaun in Space. This one is so much fun. It's so cheesy. It reminds me just like the same as Jason X, which I absolutely love that one. That's one of my favorite Friday the 13th movies, just because it's so self-aware and it knows that it's supposed to be so bad it's good, and it does it so well. This one is along the same lines as that. So this one was directed by Brian Trenchard Smith, which I don't recognize any of his other film credits. It was released in February of 1997, and it actually has Miguel Nunez Jr. from Return of the Living Dead and Scooby-Doo, which he plays like the shaman guy in Scooby-Doo, but I love him. The guy who plays the sergeant in this does a really good job, and there's a really cool effect on him where like half of his head is like metal, and that effect is really, really well done. And there's also there's a lot of CGI throughout this, and it is so bad it's good. It's like a computer generalized like spaceship and like outer space and stuff, and it's so like pixelated and like boxed. It's so weird. So the plot of this movie, this time the leprechaun is trying to marry a space princess. The set design of the planets are amazing. Like they actually use practical effects when the troops are on the planet, and it reminds me of something out of like Starship Troopers, which I really, really love. There's a lot of really fun kills in this one. One of my favorites is when the leprechaun goes into this guy's penis while he's taking a pee. I won't give the rest of it away, but that one's really wild. The score is super funny too, because it's like a mix of futuristic and Irish music, which is really funny. And like I said, there's some really done effects throughout. This one is just really silly and fun. And there's one thing I want to show you guys that just absolutely blew me away. There's a space spider effect that like this guy gets transformed into when the leprechaun injects him with this serum. And just look at this. I didn't pick the highest quality image because I don't want to ruin it for you guys, but like this is like Screaming Mad George level of effects, like Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Fly, like Society. The effects of this guy are just insane. It's putrid. Like he looks like a brood mother from like Warhammer 40K or something. It's crazy. They absolutely killed that. The ending is really awesome. I won't give it away, but I really enjoyed the ending of this one, and this one's just a lot of fun. So that's my number 3 pick. I really, really enjoyed Leprechaun in Space. So my number 2 pick is the original Leprechaun. Now, this is just a classic, and I've seen this one several times. It was released in January of 1993, and it was directed by Mark Jones, who also did Rumpelstiltskin, which I did a review of on my channel, and they have the same vibe throughout. It's starring Warwick Davis, and this one actually has Jennifer Aniston in her very first lead role. She didn't star in, she had like a background dancing role in Mac and Me, which was like her first feature film, but this was her first like leading role, and she shies away from this. Howard Stern did mention it to her before, which is really funny, but she actually does a really good job in this for being I think she's 25 years old in this, which she does not look at all, but she does a really good job in this. This one is like just so charming, and it's so original. There's a really creepy scene where like this old lady's voice is coming out of the leprechaun, and basically this one's just about him trying to get his pot of gold. The plot's very simple. This one, like, four-leaf clovers are like crosses to leprechauns in it. Jennifer Aniston's character is like so afraid of everything, and she's this girly girl, and she wants to prove to this neighborhood painter guy that she's a lot more than that. So she's kind of like the final girl or badass in this film. There's a great ominous score in it that I really like a lot, and there's some great CGI for 1994 too. Honestly, even better than some of like the more recent ones, like the Leprechaun in Space or like the Leprechaun Origins one that was just awful. There's some good CGI in this for 94. There's also some really great kills and awesome special effects scenes. So one of my favorite kills in this is the pogo stick kill. It's so classic. It's like one of the most unique, like first unique kills that he does. There's also an homage to Nightmare on Elm Street where Jennifer Aniston's on the phone and the leprechaun's hand comes through the phone. That was definitely a callback to Nightmare on Elm Street that I really loved. It has the classic ending where they kill a leprechaun and the kid goes, "Fuck you, Lucky Charms." So yeah, that one's an all-time classic, and I really enjoy that one. But the one that I enjoy the most out of all of them is Leprechaun 3. This one is so much fun, and the setting is so perfect. It was released in June of 1995, which is actually the year that I was born, and it was directed by Brian Trenchard Smith too. And I lied to you guys when I said I didn't recognize any of his other film credits. He did Night of the Demons 2, which is like the best Night of the Demons sequel in my opinion. It's so much fun. If you guys haven't seen that one, check it out. So this one is actually set in Vegas, and this guy sells a leprechaun statue at the very beginning to a pawn shop, and the pendant that's on him that's keeping him frozen gets removed, and that brings him back to life. And then he just goes looking for his gold because his gold gets taken. 90s Vegas looks really, really awesome in this one, guys. And the only thing that I don't like is like the first 1/3 of the movie, the leprechaun is just stuck in this pawn shop, but he's torturing this poor pawn shop owner. But I wish he would have got out a little bit more in the first 1/3 of the movie. There's a classic like Elvis impersonator scene that's really funny. There's also some internal conflict at the casino between the dealer and the magician. There's a magician in this one that's really funny character. So is the cards dealer is played by Carolyn Williams, which she's from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I absolutely love her. This one is so silly. I absolutely love it. The girl who plays the main girl in this one's name is Tammy, and she's a babe. She's this really hot blonde girl. And the main guy's name is Scott. And she sneaks him into the casino, and she promises him not to gamble. And there's a different take on the leprechaun's gold in this one. So in this one, if you get the coin, you get to make a wish, and it comes true almost instantly. So Scott wishes that he was on a streak in the casino, and then he gets all this money, and everyone's after him. But I absolutely love that Carolyn Williams is in this one. And there's an amazing bladder practical effects scene with her that I have to show you guys. This is absolutely amazing. Like the effects on her lips when they're like blowing up and her body and stuff. It's so amazing. And it just keeps going and going and going and going. And I won't give away what happens, but you can probably guess what happens. But the bladder effects were amazing. The main character also goes through a transformation at the end that's really awesome. And like the practical effects are super cheesy, but it just adds to the charm. And Leprechaun 3 is just so much fun. I absolutely love that one, guys. I had such a fun time going through all these. There's also these like 30-minute documentaries for each one of these films on this Blu-ray set, which is super awesome. And they're all by Red Shirt Pictures, who you guys might recognize that name. They did the Trick or Treat release with Synapse, and they also announced that they're coming out with like Fright Night 2, Hello Mary Lou Prom Night 2, and 3 and 4, which I'm super excited for. But this Blu-ray, if you don't have it, this is the definitive way to own these. It doesn't matter which set you get or how you get it. I also want to get the VHS for these someday because I just love these first 4 movies. They're so good. They're such classics. I had so much fun going through all these guys. That is my ranking. So number 7, Leprechaun Origins is awful. Number 6, Leprechaun Back to the Hood. Number 5, Leprechaun in the Hood. Number 4, Leprechaun 2. Number 3, Leprechaun in Space. Number 2, Leprechaun 1, and number 1, Leprechaun 3, the one in Vegas. It's just so amazing, so much fun. Thank you so much for chilling with and going through this with me, guys. If you could please remember to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel, that would be amazing, and we'll catch you in the next one. Happy St. Patty's Day. Peace.